Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Anna. I'm a little bit spooky, and today we are going through the favorites for 2022 beauty. I'm so excited. Makeup is my favorite topic. We know that. I love makeup. I can talk about it for freaking hours. And these are all my favorite products from 2023 to put on my face. So we're going to get ready together using some of these products, and you can see them in action while I talk about all my other favorites from the year. And yeah, we just hang out, talk about good makeup, and just spend some time together. If that interests you, just go ahead and keep on watching. But before you do, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know some of your 2023 favorites in makeup. I want to know because I'm nosy. And yeah, maybe some of your favorites will become my 2023 favorites. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into creating this face using some of my 2022 makeup favorites. So I'm going to start with the palette that is my number one best of the best palette that I just can't get enough of for an entire year, have wanted to use. And that is the Charlotte Tilbury Instant Eye Palette in Smoky Eyes Are Forever. This color story is kind of everything I would want in a color story. This palette, I swear, was just like made for me as far as the colors go. It's kind of all my favorites in here. It's got beautiful mattes. It's got a matte black. It's got a matte cream. It's got beautiful deep brown for deepening up. You got a little bit of a cool tones in here mixed in with some beautiful warms. You have greens. You have greens. You know how much I love an olive green eye. Yes. And you have some gorgeous transition shades, some beautiful warm copper tones. It's got everything that I need in a palette, and this has been that palette that if I don't want to think about makeup, this is the one. If I have date night, I just want to look pretty, this was the palette I reached for. There's no fallout. The mattes in it are absolutely velvety. They blend beautifully and just easy to work with. The pigmentation level is just right. And I know I've heard like some hit or miss things about Charlotte's eyeshadow formula, people not really thinking it's worth the price. But within this palette, as far as my experience goes, this palette was well worth it. And it was a great investment palette for me because of how much versatility I can get out of it, how much I can use it. All around has been such a useful, easy palette for me. And I can get just so much variety from it. And yeah, I love it so much. So that's what we're going to use today. And also I wanted to mention the shimmers in here are absolutely gorgeous finish. They're so sparkly. They're like grown up glittery sparkle. They're so pretty, and again they feel like velvet. The formula is a very thin formula. It doesn't look heavy on the eyes. It doesn't look chalky. It is one of the most flattering formulas I've ever used. So we're going to dip into it today to create our look, and while I do that, we're going to talk about some other palettes. Let's go ahead and move into some more affordable options that I loved and work our way back up. I don't have a ton of palettes to talk about this year because I have been a little more thoughtful about the purchases I've made and what palettes I really want to bring into my collection and just kind of streamline things a little bit. So yeah, let's go ahead, get this look started and talk about some more eyeshadow palettes. I finally got my hands on Stone Cold Fox from ColourPop. This palette just really did something for me. It took me a while to get my hands on this palette. It's like the perfect cool tone palette. It's kind of all you need if you're into cool tones. It has everything. And it's such a nice palette. I'm not the biggest fan of massive palettes. I've gotten where I like the curation of a smaller palette, but there's something so useful about having all these shades in one palette. I think it's a great palette, and I've used it quite a bit. I've definitely embraced cool tones much more, and this palette was just perfect for that. And then an odd one that I did not think I would enjoy. This was the palette I was least excited about because I bought these big ColourPop palettes in a bundle, and that is the Your Golden palette. I didn't think I would care about this palette. I had no interest in it. It just came in the bundle. But I found myself reaching for this palette so much, especially in the summer. This became the palette of my summer that I used constantly just because it has so many shades. It was so versatile and easy to use. I could get so many just nice summertime looks from it, and it was just something light, and I don't know, I really enjoyed it and used it so much on kind of the daily basis throughout the summer months and warmer months because it has those really pretty warm shades within it. While the palette is quite repetitive, for some reason it became very useful to me and I really enjoyed it. So I had to include that just because I used it so much and found myself using it so much. Moving on to some smaller, a little bit more curated palettes. The Huda Wild palette, the Huda Wild Jaguar palette. I loved this one for the color story. I didn't reach for it as much as I wanted to, but I'm definitely gonna be reaching for it this winter. I mean, these colors were beautiful. I enjoyed the crap out of it. I loved every look I did with the palette. And it's just so pretty, and I really liked the cool tones and a little bit mix of warm in there. There were unique shades, and it was just such a really nice curated selection of colors. I loved this palette, and the quality was great. Very, very, very nice little palette from Huda. Melt Cosmetics Gemini 2. This was another palette I really loved over the warmer months, especially for these warm rose tones. They were so pretty, and I really love these murky greens down here. And I love that this palette also has a warm undertone and not so much that cold purple undertone that a lot of rosy palettes tend to lean. I want warmer rosy tones, and I love that this has more of a kind of a blood red color story to it, and I loved these greens. All the shades you find within an actual rose, and I think it was beautiful. It is probably the best Melt Cosmetics palette I've used as far as the quality goes. I really enjoy the shades. Right up my alley, and I'm so happy to have it. Next is the Nouveau palette from ABH. This palette made me fall back in love with Anastasia Beverly Hills. I had lost interest in them quite some time ago with the overload of the giant Norvina palettes. I just didn't care about those. Wasn't interested in a lot of the launches recently until this came out. And I saw this beautiful color story right here. Stole my heart. I have loved this palette so much. The quality is fantastic. I love the shades within this, like these green moss colors. It was just beautiful. This has been another palette that I've reached for on such a regular basis, like a daily basis, because it is so versatile. You can get glam, you can get grunge, you can get everyday. You can do it all with this palette, and it is just such a useful, beautiful palette. Love the shades so much. You even have this fun pop of purple and a duochrome. Well, actually, I think there's more than one duochrome in here. I want to talk about a couple of bee-themed palettes because you guys know I love bees. And I picked up two this year that were bee-themed. The first one here is the Queen Bee palette from Colored Rain. My first experience with Colored Rain, and I fell in love with it. The quality here is absolutely beautiful. You have two gorgeous duochromes within here. Very vibrant, pigmented shades. I loved the looks I created. I liked that it was small and curated as well. You could tell there was some thought put into the shades within. The black in it is gorgeous. I mean, these shimmers are standout shades to me, just all around. Like, the packaging is gorgeous. I loved it so much. And again, it's one that I didn't feel like I reached for enough. I need to use this more. And yeah, this was just such a lovely palette. I loved the whole collection. And then other bee palette I picked up this year that I think might be in my top forever love palettes. And that is this one right here from Lena Lashes. I love it so much. It is a Louisiana themed bee palette. It's the two things that speak to me. Well, actually, it's a bee, Louisiana, and Beyonce themed palette. But I mean, I'm from Louisiana and I love bees. My hometown is actually on the palette represented, which is really rare because it's usually a looked over little town. Or it's not even a little town, it's just kind of looked over all the time. I love that it was actually on the palette. The design here is absolutely stunning. I would love to have this print framed because it is just so beautiful. Inside you have this beautiful range of shades. I mean, ooh, it's so gorgeous. Loved every look I've created with this palette. It performed beautifully. The quality was there, hands down. Everything about this was fantastic. I mean, these shades are so vibrant. The pigmentation was phenomenal. Everything about it was great. I have two eyeliners I really liked this year. First one is from Colleen Rothschild, and this is her Coal Black Smoke and Smudge. This is a great one for doing a smoky eye. Great base to begin with. It's just beautifully rich and black. It's got a smudgy tip on it. Very easy to work with. It's a classic kind of kohl formula that just is very, very blendable. You don't have to worry about setting down and not blending. And then I also really loved the shade Black Jade from Sourmet. This is their smudge-proof eyeliner. This was a gorgeous, kind of a cool tone blackened green. I really, really enjoyed it quite a bit. Let me try to get you a good swatch there. It's just a little something different than a black. And I like that it was a square pencil, really nice formula, easy to work with, long wearing, but you still get a minute to smudge it as well. So I'm going to take that into the lower lash line. And then on the upper lash line, I'm going to take the Colleen Rothschild black eyeliner and just do a little bit of something right here on the outer bit that we can do kind of a smoky little wing. Take a little liner brush and a little bit of the black eyeshadow from the Charlotte Tilbury palette. I'm going to smoke out that liner. Alright, we're going to take a break from eyes for a second and move on to some complexion products. This was the year of complexion products for me. I tried so many foundations and concealers that was just kind of the end all be all of my year, apparently. I'm very happy with the place my skin is in, and I was really into the lighter coverage products to show the skin through them, and I just didn't feel like having a full face of makeup throughout the whole year. I really liked the light, breathable, your skin but better look. And I kind of went all crazy trying out all the different lighter coverage options that launched this year because there were so many good foundations. It was really hard to like even narrow down. So let me show you my number one, and then we will run through some of the others that I absolutely loved throughout the year. My number one out of all of them has to be the L'Oreal True Match Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. This has such beautiful coverage. It's lightweight. You can still kind of see your skin through it, but it just perfects everything. It's your skin, but better. I would say it's a light to low medium coverage. It has a beautiful reflective quality to it, like a slight pearlescence within it, almost like an hourglass powder type of finish. It's beautifully glowy, but it's not greasy feeling. It has just this really pretty kind of crushed pearl reflection within that gives you this really healthy, dewy look to the skin without it feeling super dewy or sticky. And the wear time on this was fantastic. I just thought it was so beautiful. The application, like the little dropper situation is garbage, but otherwise this foundation is so worth it and so beautiful on the skin. I think it would work for mature skin, young skin, all skin. It's just one of those gorgeous products that I think is very versatile. Yeah, you can kind of build it up if you have an area where you need a little more coverage. It can be sheared out so beautifully, and it has the hyaluronic acid within it as well, so that's a nice little perk. And yeah, I loved it so much. And you can see I have made quite some progress in this bottle. I rarely use up a foundation. That's how much I like this one. My second favorite has to be the number 7 Restore and Renew Multi-Action Foundation. This one was beautiful, light coverage again, light to low medium, very glowy on the skin, beautiful finish, great wear time, but it also is infused with some skincare as well, and it's just a gorgeous product. It's marketed to more mature skin, but I think this one will work for anybody as well. But this was definitely one of the most beautiful foundations that I tried this year, and I loved it so much. And while we're talking about more light coverage, this was one of my favorite kind of everyday go-to foundations as well, and this is the Wet n Wild Tinted Hydrator. This also has a gorgeous glow to it without feeling super sticky on the skin. It has squalane, hyaluronic acid. It's not too terribly dissimilar from the L'Oreal. Same lightweight feel to the skin. Light coverage to a low medium. It still will cover like the redness in my cheeks, even things out, but I can still see a little of my freckles poking through, which I love. And it just looks like my skin. The wear time is very impressive with this one, and it is so affordable. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit. And this is one I slept on for a little while because I thought the packaging was ugly. And I just, I'm not into it because the packaging wasn't pretty to me. But yeah, this is one that I absolutely adored. And then I also tried the Purely's BB Glow with SPF 30 within it. This one, so pretty. You have a pretty decent SPF. Gorgeous finish with this one. Great wear time. This one dries down a little bit more matte to the touch while it still has a gorgeous glow. This is one I could get away without setting. And I feel like this one has some pretty decent coverage to it as well. I really enjoyed this one. And of course the sunscreen in it can't hurt. more is more when it comes to the sunscreen, and I really like this one and thought it just looks so skin-like and so pretty on the face. And on the few days that I wanted glam, full coverage, look absolutely flawless, the Butter Believe It from Physicians Formula. This looks like a filter on your face. Oh, you would look face-tuned with this one. It's an odd shade range, and I have the lightest shade, which to me looks a bit greenish, but the coverage and the finish is so pretty. Like, this is one of my favorite full coverage foundations since the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour foundation, the one that came out I think last year, maybe a year before that. Anyways, this one's gorgeous, and it really does look like you have a filter on your face. Wear time's great. The only thing is to shake it up because it does separate in the bottle. So remember to shake it before you use it, but otherwise, such a pretty product. I didn't even mind the slight fragrance to it, the little, whatever their butter fragrance is. Physicians Formula is another one of those brands that I kind of sleep on because I don't like their packaging. I just really don't like their packaging. I don't feel like they're very inclusive. Very often, like they're pretty lacking in the shade range on both ends of the spectrum. I rarely find things that can run light enough for me, and they just don't have anything really to cater to deeper complexions at all. Claims it can be a concealer. I wouldn't put it under the eyes, but otherwise it's so pretty. It really does look like you have face-tuned yourself in real life. I do have 3 little priming products I want to talk about. First is from L'Oreal. This is the Age Perfect Blurring Face Primer infused with Caring Serum. I kind of took a deep dive in L'Oreal's Age Perfect range this year and definitely found some gems within it. In my last year's favorite, I talked about the Serum Foundation, and this year I discovered this. It's a blurring face primer, and it is supposedly in a rosy shade. It doesn't really impart any color on your skin at all. It manages to smooth your skin, fill in pores without looking flat and matte, and it feels lightweight on the skin, and it was just a very pretty product. I found it played well with all my foundations, and it was definitely a primer that I found myself reaching for. This one, I think, does a great job. It is not quite as poor feeling, say, as their Magic Perfector, whatever it was that they had, but this one's still really nice, and definitely, I think, a slept-on product from L'Oreal, because I don't think anybody really mentions this one. But this is a really nice primer. Don't let the pink color put you off. That was what put me off for a while, because I thought, it's pink. Why would I want more pinkness in this pink little face right here? But actually, it doesn't look pink on your skin, and it just fills in everything and looks great. So I'm going to put a little bit of this on in my T-zone, and a little bit does go a long way. And yes, it does come out pink looking, but watch when I put it on the skin, it's not going to look pink at all. I usually just apply this one kind of where I have the most pores, and it's just so light. It has that little bit of a powdery silicone feel to it, which I really do enjoy in a primer. I'm still saying it doesn't make your face look pink. The only reason it looks pink right now is because I'm touching it. It'll go away. And I put a bit on the chin area. Just kind of anywhere that I like to have nicely primed. It's usually the center of the face. And this one does give you that pretty flawless look to your skin. It kind of has that powdery finish, but it doesn't look super flat. It just looks nice, and everything looks very smooth. Another primer I really liked this year was the Colleen Rothschild Black Tourmaline Face Primer. This one does a little bit of everything. It's got a little bit of skincare in there. It does some perfecting to the skin, makes everything look smooth, and my makeup sits beautifully over top of this. And I do believe both of these do help with longevity of your foundation. They do a great job for that. But this one, I mean, it just looks cool because it's black for one thing, and then it goes completely clear on the skin, sinks in, fills in the pores, softens fine lines, wrinkles, all that, and does all the things you want a primer to do, and is incredibly lightweight on the skin. You don't feel it. There's no greasiness, nothing, and yeah, it's a lovely product. And another product that was definitely one slept on by a lot of us for a long time, and that is the Lumi Glotion. I picked this up because it was a supposed dupe of the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. Now, I don't think it perfects your skin like Flawless Filter does. Nothing has compared to Flawless Filter in my opinion, but this was a really nice product if you want some glow to your skin. It's beautiful. I'll even take a little bit on my arms if I'm wearing like like our décolleté area, if I'm wearing sleeveless, it looks really nice. Or if my chest shoulders are showing. And the shade Light really does in color look just like Flawless Filter in the two lightest shades. Quite as a refined a formula, but this does give you some really nice hydration as well. And it's beautiful, beautiful as a skin enhancing product, and I really enjoyed it. And I want to get all the shades because I think it's such a nice product. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this, and I'm going to apply it where I would normally apply my Flawless Filter, which is more so on the higher points of the face, and just kind of work that in like I would a lotion or my Flawless Filter. So it doesn't give quite the same level of glow, but I still think it's really pretty. It's just a nice product, and that's why I'm including it. It's because it's something that I did use and really enjoy this past year. And I think it is a pretty decent dupe if you're looking for one. But yeah, it just gives you a really nice glow. This is a product that I put on before filming when I just want something kind of pretty on the skin. It doesn't really offer any coverage. Like Flawless Filter does have that touch of coverage to it. I don't feel like this one has that, but it's still just pretty. It's pretty, it's glowy, it gives you a nice dew to the skin, gives you a little bit of that glass skin look, if you will. And it does come in, I believe, 3 shades. There is a tan, there is this shade, and then there is one that has kind of a bluer undertone, which I think would be really cool on my ghostly skin. And I like to actually blend this in with a brush most of the time. I think you just have to apply a little bit more of this than you do a Flawless Filter to get the glow. You see, it gives you a gorgeous sheen to the skin that doesn't emphasize texture. I tried a lot of glowy kind of skin enhancers this year as well, and I found a lot of them just made texture stand out on my skin so bad that I couldn't put them all over the face. All right, now let's do that foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and apply my number 1 foundation, which is the L'Oreal Nude Hyaluronic Tinted Serum. Another thing I really got into this year is using brushes. And that is just such a pretty foundation. I mean, look at that. The skin just looks so healthy. So I'm just going to build up coverage kind of on my chin where I need a little bit more. And there we go. It's your skin, but better. For concealer this year, I do have quite a little handful here. And I really had trouble narrowing it down because I had some that I just really loved. One that I have used longer, I think, than 2022, but I finally got in the right shade for myself, was the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Concealer. I think this one's so pretty. It does give you a little bit of radiance. It's light coverage, and I just think it's really, really pretty. It's a graceful formula. I think it worked fine on mature skin. And yeah, I really like this for the summer months. It's just something kind of light, effortless, and easy to apply. It's one of those you kind of can't overdo, and it just looks really nice on the skin. A couple more fuller coverage options here would be the Incognito from Wet n Wild. This one was absolutely beautiful. Love it. I love this one if I'm wanting a little more coverage. This one's beautiful, and it's a little bit more of a matte finish, but not flat matte either. Really, really nice on the under eye and around the face. It's just a really pretty product, and I don't feel like it looked heavy. It was very, very lightweight. I really enjoyed the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer if I was looking for something with much more coverage. This one also set really pretty under the eyes, which I was not expecting. I was really expecting this one to look heavy, but no, it is so lightweight and so pigmented and has just so much coverage to it that it was phenomenal. Like these two, I think either one you couldn't go wrong with. I love them both equally, and had a really hard time picking between the two what was my favorite, because I enjoyed them both. On those days I wanted a little more coverage around the under eye and a little more glam. A newer concealer that I really liked was the Milk Makeup Future Fluid Concealer. This one again also has really great coverage and very lightweight as well. It's pretty similar formula to these two. They're not chalky and dry. They have a bit of a hydrating hydration to them, but they're not dewy looking under the eye, whereas something like this one has a little bit more of a dewy serum feel to it. And this one's beautiful and definitely great coverage here. I thought it looked great on the under eye. I think people with drier skin really didn't care for it as much, so do keep that in mind, but I don't really have dry skin particularly, so this was one that I really did like quite a bit. And again, these options right here are great to mix with those lighter weight foundations. If you were needing to build coverage, they mix and play really well, nicely together. Two more that are labeled a serum concealer. The number 7 Lift and Illuminate Serum Concealer. Really, really nice right here. This formula is beautiful. This has great staying power, minimal creasing. Really love this one quite a bit and used it a lot. Definitely one of my favorites from 2022. It's been out longer than a year, but I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad I picked it up to try out because it was great. Last concealer is the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. This is such a beautiful concealer. It's so thin. It has a medium kind of coverage to it. It's not super heavy full coverage as like the Milk Makeup or the Catrice or Wet n Wild. This one has a nice lighter coverage, a little bit more akin to the L'Oreal here. But the formula, I think, on this is really, really pretty. It's very flattering. They look great on mature skin as well as young skin. It could work on oily under eyes, dry under eyes. I think you'll get along with it really well. It's just a nice, very thin product that I don't feel like sunk into any fine lines or wrinkles or did any crazy creasing on me. It just looked really smooth and flawless on the under eye. And that's why I'm picking these concealers. I know I have just like a lot of concealer to talk about. I'm telling complexion was where it was at for me this year, but those concealers all impressed me quite a bit and I love them. And I'm really debating which one I want to use today. I think the NYX one might be my number 1, so that's what we're going to use today. So I just take a little pump, a couple pumps in the back of my hand. A little goes a long way because it's such a thin formula that it has great spreadability, yet also has really nice coverage. I've been doing a lot of my complexion with brushes this year. I don't know what's gotten into me, but I'm just haven't been using sponges. I don't know why. I'm just going to take a little bit of this on the under eye. This also feels like one of those products that you just kind of can't overdo. Like it just, I don't know, it works so well without getting heavy. Whereas I think the Catrice, the Milk, the Wet n Wild one are ones that you do have to use a lighter hand with because they are quite full coverage. And I'm just going to take that all through wherever I like to apply my concealer. I've got a little pimple on the end of my nose. And I usually take my big brush and just a foundation brush just to blend everything together. Alright, and doesn't that just give the prettiest coverage? And just looks so nice on the under eye. I think it just looks really pretty. And just sits really nicely on the skin. Easy product to work with, even though it does have the little pump that you have to squirt it out. It's still easy. You can blend it in with your fingers. So I'm going to talk about 3 powders that I've used for the last year, 2 years, that I think are phenomenal. First is the number 7 Lift and Illuminate Triple Action Powder. This one is gorgeous. I've gone through a lot of it. This one is supposedly a dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Compact Powder. I can't think of the name of it. I don't know because I haven't used it, but this does make your skin look beautiful and flawless and just sets things down so nicely. It is a fantastic powder. It's very lightweight. It's pretty undetectable on the skin. One that I think is beautiful and gives you great wear time with your foundation is the by Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder. This one, I've loved so much. It's so undetectable on the face. It's so lightweight. You don't feel it. You don't see it. It doesn't make you look flat and matte, but it still sets everything in. It looks just gorgeous and gives you a nice flawless complexion. The e.l.f. Halo Glow Powder. I think this one had a bit of a year going viral. I've been using this one for a couple of years now. I think this was in my last year's favorites. This is very much like an Hourglass powder, or perhaps a dupe for the Givenchy pink powder that everybody's on about. This is gorgeous. I have it in the light pink shade. This does give you a little bit of brightening, but it doesn't look pink on the skin. And it gives you a very soft, beautiful kind of ambient lighting powder glow while still setting things in and locking in your makeup. It's gorgeous. It works as a finishing powder, a setting powder. It looks prettier on the eyes. I've tried it a million different ways this year and have loved it in every single application. So I think we'll go ahead and throw on the e.l.f. Halo Glow powder because it was definitely one I reached for so much that I'm going to need to purchase a new one. I think it just looks really pretty out of the eyes. It doesn't darken my under eye. And I think if you are not quite the ghost that I am, it will give you a bit more of a brightening effect if you get the light pink shade. On me, it's just kind of a skin tone match. And it does kind of have a translucency to it. It's not gonna, to me, tint the skin too terribly much or anything. And see how my under eyes don't look flat and matte, but they are. Like, they're just that kind of right level of matte under the eyes, but things don't look chalky or heavy. That's what's so nice about this powder. It's very lightweight. It does give you a very flawless look to the skin. Gives you a little bit of some pore filling. Apply it with a puff and get a beautiful finish as well. I bounce around puff sponge or puff brush, whatever just suits my mood. I'm just in a brush mood today, I guess. And this was one I was kind of wary of putting on the T-zone because of the finish it has, but it actually looks really, really nice. I'm gonna take whatever's left in the cap on a big brush, just tap over. And just look how pretty the skin looks. Like there's a glow, but nothing is flat matte. Look, it just looks kind of creamy. And I love that. I love that finish. I'm gonna go ahead and finish up my lower lash line and I'll be right back. So let's talk about bronzers and contours and that type of thing. I have two expensive ones. First is the Nudegasm Face Palette from Charlotte Tilbury. This right here. Whew, did I fall in love with this palette? My goodness. This was a one and done palette. I could get my whole eyes and face with this guy. I loved it. I brought it traveling with me. You have a highlight, you have a shimmery blush, but you have two beautiful contour bronze shades right here. One's a little more cool neutrally, and then one's a deep, dark, super sculpt shade. And this palette, so good. The formulas in here are beautiful. They're like a baked gelée, I believe. You kind of have to have a denser brush to pick them up, but they are just so soft and just skin-like. I cannot get over this palette. It was hands down one of my favorite face palettes I've ever used, but all around, this palette was what I loved for blush, bronze, contour, all the things. The highlight in this palette it's super glowy, but not unflattering. You can build it up, you can apply it sheerly. Very versatile palette. Again, you can do your whole face with this palette, which is awesome. And for just a straight up bronzer from Charlotte is the Beautiful Skin Sun Kissed Glow Bronzer. I really like this one too. This is a cream formula that claims to wear for like a really long time. And it's got like some skincare in it to kind of keep your skin hydrated. Also, embossing stayed really well in this one too, which I'm surprised. This is kind of a putty formula is what I would call it, more than a cream. It's a little bit of a drier texture. It's not super greasy or anything. It's very almost powdery feel. A dryness to it, almost like a Super Shock type of formula. Really beautiful on the skin though. Very flattering texture. It's thin and just sits so pretty. I actually have it in the shade medium, and this gives me some lovely warmth to my skin. I still want to get the shade light. I just kind of forgot about it. It was out of stock forever. But yeah, you get a huge pan. You can use this on your body. I think it said it was like water resistant, that you could wear it like, and claims to be smoothing. It has kind of like almost like a primer feel to it. Kind of give a smooth airbrush look to the skin, which is really nice. And I think the color medium works pretty well on my ghostly skin. And I like the tone of it because it has that true kind of what I look like if I do self-tan or if I have a little bit of sun. I kind of get this a little bit more of a color to my skin. So yeah, this was really nice. And I'm going to bounce into all three because why not? So we're going to start with Nudegasm. base palette first before we talk about our blushes and just go ahead and get our bronze and contour on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the lightest shade within the Nudegasm palette. Start to carve out a little bit of a cheekbone here. You see what a pretty soft tone that is? This is a very nice kind of everyday contour shade. It's not too dissimilar from Film Star Bronze and Glow in tone, which I really like. It's that perfect kind of bronzer where you can kind of get a little bit of both out of it. And these make great eyeshadows, this whole palette. And I do really like to take some right up here. This is something else I really got into this year. I'm going to take the Super Sculpt and just kind of go right in here. It's a bit warmer, but deeper. It really does give you a nice chisel. And I apply it where I just want a little more structure. And just because more is more, we'll take a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Glow Bronzer. It's not glowy. I don't find any that it's particularly glowy at all. I think it's just more of a satin kind of skin-like finish. And I like to apply this with a soft brush as well. So I usually take kind of a floppy kind of brush like this, run it in here, and then I take the excess off on the back of my hand and just bring a little warmth into the skin. And I really, really love this during the summer months, especially when I had some fake tan on. I thought it looked so pretty, and it wore really, really well all day. Blush, again, the Nudegasm palette has this beautiful glowy peach blush within it that I loved. I love this kind of tone of blush with a bit of a glow in it. It's very pretty for summertime and spring. I also really loved the Milani Cheek Kisses. I loved Nude Kiss and Coral Crush. Coral Crush is beautiful for the warmer months. I mean, it was so pretty. It's kind of that sunburnt look. I loved that for the warmer months. And Nude Kiss was just a year-round absolute favorite. It's just that perfect neutral dusty rose type of blush. And the formula on these is just beautiful. I loved it so much. This was definitely one of my most reach for blushes. If I couldn't think what blush I wanted to use, this is what I used. And I also really liked, in a similar shade, this is a blush from Wet n Wild and one of their little chubby sticks here. What do they call these? Makeup sticks. And this is in the shade Floral Majority. Very similar to the Milani blush, and really nice formula on this. And just such a pretty shade. I really enjoy this quite a bit. I thought it looked great on the skin, but I really like this. And I also loved the dupe for Pinkgasm, which is Peach Bombs from Wet n Wild. Also in their little makeup stick line. Very affordable. And this one has a gorgeous glow to it. It has almost that NARS Orgasm kind of look to it. But I think just much prettier, less pinky. And yeah, I loved it. And it has a really nice formula, beautiful glow. And these do apply nicely over powder. I don't take the stick straight on the face. I actually take a brush over top and pounce them on, and it does great. So for my blush, I'm going to use, we'll use a little bit of the Milani, and then we'll go in over top with a little bit of Wet n Wild. Buffing foundation brush from e.l.f. I also really love these little buffing brushes from e.l.f. And take a little bit of that, tap it off on my wrist, and just pat a little on. And it's just such a beautiful kind of natural shade on me. And I think the formula on these is really nice. It's not quite as a dry formula as the putty blushes from e.l.f. They're a little more creamy and emollient, but they also wear really well over powder and sit well as long as you pounce it on with like a brush. For a little more glow, I will take a bit of Peach Bums here from Wet n Wild just to show you. We'll put a little bit of that on the cheeks. I apply them like this. And this also, you can just wear as a blush, highlight topper, whatever. Same with the blush in the Nudegasm palette. I'm just going to take a little bit, just right here, just for demonstration purposes. These were definitely products I reached for on the daily basis because they were so easy to use. These little sticks are just quick and you don't have to think too much. You just pop them on and I thought they were great. Just absolutely wonderful for that. The highlight from Nudegasm, really gorgeous warm champagne, but not too deep for my skin tone, which is really nice. It's kind of hard to find like a golden highlight that works on really fair skin, and this one was kind of perfect. And then again from the Wet n Wild, Little Sticks, the highlighter. This is the shade When the Nude Strikes, and this is such a beautiful nude kind of highlight. Like it's a cool toned champagne with a little bit of like a touch of pink in it. Very pretty, very just glowy and flattering on the skin. It just sits really nicely. Again, easy to apply. You can take it with a little brush and pat it on, and it's so pretty. So I think we'll apply just a touch of this just so you can see it. So I'm going to clean off my blush brush, and we'll just take a little bit of this and tap a little, like right here is how I like to apply it. And it's just a gorgeous glow. It's like one of those glows that really doesn't have a color to it. It's just a little cool toned. I think it just looks really pretty. It doesn't feel too sticky or anything like that. It has more of a dewy look to it. And I think that's what makes these really, really nice, is that they do look like high-end products on the skin, but cost like $4 or $5. Depending where you buy, catch a sale. I'm going to dust on a little bit of the highlight from the Nudegasm, the Super Glow, I believe is what it's called. Just going to tap a little bit of that over top just to warm up that highlight a touch to go with the eye look. And I like to take a little bit of this on the brow bone. And that is our highlight applied. Very pretty. Everything looks very smooth. Nothing looks glittery, chunky. No texture is being emphasized. Next would be mascaras. I have, I think, 2 mascaras I really want to talk about. I just don't have either one in front of me. Well, I do have the other one. It's just not open yet, so I can't really demo it. So I'm just going to throw on a random mascara. But the Sky High mascara, I believe, from Maybelline. Worth it. To me, yeah, there was a reason it went viral. I think it did a beautiful job on the lashes. Very elongating, volumizing at the same time, but I feel like my lashes looked so long when I applied that one. I loved it. I tore through a tube of that in no time. And I've been testing out so many mascaras, I just haven't repurchased it, but I loved it. And sadly, my holy grail, like favorite, need a dupe for it is the Bite Upswing, because Bite no longer makes anything other than their little lip lab products. They quit doing like makeup, basically. You can just go to the physical locations and make lipsticks. But Bite Upswing mascara was fucking phenomenal. That was an amazing mascara. So I'm just gonna throw on a mascara that I have open real quick, and we're gonna put on some false lashes, because I do have a pair of falsies that I fell in love with. Here are the lashes on. This is the style Pret-a-Porter from Kiss Lashes, or Kiss Products, I think is what they're called. And this is from their Lash Couture line. This is the Masterpiece One of a Kind Luxe Lash. And these are like the most mink-like, hand-woven. I've gotten so many wears out of this pair. They actually sell a cleaner that you can clean them after you take them off, so you can get tons of uses out of them. And I think they're just such a pretty style. I don't know about my application today because I tried something new with it, but I think these are just so pretty. They're fluffy. I trim them down just a little, to fit my eyes, but they feel so nice to touch. They feel silky, soft. They're comfortable, and they just look so pretty and just so fluffy. They're definitely, I think, my favorite style lash I've ever tried. Brows. I've already got my brows filled in because there's nothing new there, but I do have a new brow mascara I really like, and that is the NYX Thick It Stick It. And I use the shade Brunettes, and I'll run this through my brows before I fill them in just to see what gaps are left. And this offers hold and tints my brows for me. So in between tinting my brows, this stuff's amazing. And at the end of my makeup look, I will go in sometimes and fix things with this. So it's just it's one of those thickening formulas that has little fibers in it, has really good hold. It's not like a crazy hold, but pretty good hold. Just make sure you wipe your spoolie off, but it definitely has little fibers and fuzzies in there that will help thicken the brow, and it gives really nice color, and it will kind of really fill them in. So your brows will look fluffy and full and still look natural, and you can kind of press this one down to the skin a little bit to get that laminated look, which I do enjoy. I have been enjoying some skinnier, kind of bitchy brows lately. I think it suits me. But most time I use this, I skip brow pencil and just use this to fill them in. And my lift and snatch pen. I like I can get in there, I can get all the hairs and kind of decide which direction I want them all going. And you see I have a couple little bald patches. That's where I'll take a bit of my lift and snatch pen, which I mentioned in my last year's favorites, and just fill in the gaps. Okay, and last thing to talk about is lips. I didn't try a huge variety of lip products this year. I basically found a couple of formulas that I was obsessed with and decided I needed every shade from the range. We'll talk about the one-offs first. This shade from Sourmet. This was so pretty. This is the shade Lovely in their, I think it's their cream lipstick formula, but I'm just gonna show you a little swatchy swatch. Such a pretty, just nice, soft nude shade. I absolutely loved this one. It's very much just a perfect everyday color. I'm just gonna do a little arm swatch for you so you can see it. I adored this color. It has a bit of a coolness to it. It's just kind of this one Your Lips But Better type shades. So pretty with a little bit of a deeper lip liner with it. Definitely enjoyed the shade. Two from Colored Rain. This is from the Queen Bee collection as well. And this is also their, I think it's a satin lipstick formula. It's the traditional lipstick formula. Yeah, satin lipsticks. And this is the shade Busy Bee and Bee Please. I loved both these shades. This is Busy Bee, which is kind of a orangey shade, perfect for fall. Loved it. Loved it to pieces. So let me just give you a little swatch here on the arm. Just a beautiful rusty color. I love that kind of shade. And then we have Bee Please, which is a gorgeous, more of a softer, a little bit more of a warm tone compared to the Sourmet shade. It's a little bit more of a peach, and I love it. This has definitely been one of my everyday go-to lipstick colors, just because it goes with a lot of the looks I wear when I'm wearing more warm tone eyeshadow. This is the type of shade I love to wear, and this for the fall, oh, so pretty, so pretty. And the formula was just so lovely on those. Next, I have two of these, but I don't know where the other one is. It has run away, but this is the Vinyl Inks from Maybelline. Oh, girl. These were so nice. The formula is beautiful. It is so long wearing without drying your lips out. I mean, wear all day. Not need to touch up, and your lips don't look flat, matte, chalky, or dry. It's a almost like kind of a glossy formula. You shake them up and you just swipe them on. They're so easy to do. The applicator is really easy to work with. This is the shade Punchy, which is one I just got, and I love it. It's like it's a perfect everyday color for me. And I also have the shade Peachy, which is another perfect everyday color for me. So here is Punchy. I don't know where Peachy is ran off to, but that is what Punchy looks like. Oh, I love it. And they don't really dry down in the way that a traditional liquid lipstick dries down. Like these stay glossy looking while still having the staying power and not feeling like you're wearing a gloss either, or like a traditional lipstick. They really do kind of remind you of like a vinyl. It's a very bizarre formula, and I love it. I think Urban Decay also has some of these. Girl, just get the Maybelline ones. They're probably half the price, and they just launched like a ton of new shades, and they're all so good. So pretty. I want the entire range. So I've been buying one every time I go to Walgreens. That's pretty sure what I do. When I go to Walgreens, I pick up a lipstick, and I kind of build my little collection now of certain ranges. But ooh, I loved it so much. And next is the Maybelline Ultimates. I think these came out a couple of years ago, and then they launched more shades. And oh, this is a formula that I absolutely adore. This is a matte formula. And I think the colors within this range were so nuanced and so pretty. I actually have another one here that the cap fell on the floor and I just haven't picked it up yet. But just really, really pretty shades. I like all the names of everything. They're so nice. I'm going to start lightest to darkest and just kind of swatch them out here. This is the shade More Honey. Is there an overt, just obvious bee theme in things I like and honey theme? Yes. And it's not even intentional. I just bought the shade because I thought it was pretty. And turns out it's called Oh Honey. So I'm going to go ahead and give you a little swatchy swatch of this one. Again, just a beautiful peach. I love a good peach lipstick. This is like my favorite. And I love the formula of these. They have a very pleasant smell. They're comfortable. They don't dry your lips out, but they also have really good staying power. They don't wear away. And you don't have to touch them up constantly. They're really nice. Next we have More Auburn, which is a gorgeous kind of reddish shade. Love that. It's coming off red. An auburn shade. I tend to get like anything that says like auburn, honey, raisin, truffle. Next we have More Truffle. Speaking of, it's really pretty. Warm, but not overly warm brown. Like it can go a little bit cool. It's very neutral. Very pretty, very 90s lip color. More Mocha, I think, was one that I reached for a lot. Has a little bit of a coolness in it. It's a bit cooler than More Truffle. Still deep and pretty. More Cedar, which is a bit more of a reddish brownie tone. Very pretty. Oh, I love these colors. I love shades like that. More Coffee, which is a super dark, almost black, dramatic brown. Oh, I love them. Love them. These lipsticks were gorgeous. Are gorgeous. The wear time on them were fantastic. They're comfortable and just such pretty shades. And they have more shades than this. They have a lot more. These were just some that I picked up that were my favorites. Milani. The Color Fetish, I think is what they're called. They had the Color Fetish Nude line and then the Color Fetish, I think, Floral line. They launched in the spring. I have, I think, all of them from the original line. I may be missing one. I don't think I am. I think I have all the original ones. And then I have one from the Floral range. So we'll talk about the one from the Floral range first. This is the shade Poppy. It is such a pretty red. Like, it's just, something about it is so pretty. It's this nice blue-based, vibrant red, and I thought it was just gorgeous. Gorgeous color. I mean, it's so nice. Do I need another red lipstick? Absolutely not. I have a ton of red lipsticks, but that one I thought was just so pretty. I like that it has a little bit of pink in it or something, or blue-based to it. I really don't have very many blue-based reds, so I think that's why I like that one. There was just something kind of nice about the undertone of it, where it's not, I don't know, there's something a little bit nuanced about it. So from the nude range, which I do have 6, I think that is the whole collection. I did see a black one at Walmart. I should have bought it. I don't know what I was thinking. We'll start with this shade that is called Pleasure. And I think Pleasure is such a pretty color. It's really nice. Peachy nude. How many peachy nudes do you need? Apparently a lot. And then we have Tease, which is a bit warmer. Is there overlap in my collection? Absolutely. But, you know, I like those shades. Just more of a different undertone with them. And then we have Secret, which is so pretty. Dupe for Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I was so proud of myself when I found that dupe on my own. And then people started talking about it. I was like, hey, I ain't got to put a video yet. Other people found the dupe. But I thought I'd found me a dupe organically. Anyway, that's Secret. Also, makes a pretty blush. Passion, which was in my last year's favorites. This was the only one I had at the time. And oh boy, did I love it. Love that shade. Love it, love it, love it. So pretty. Just a gorgeous raisin. Next is Desire. Really beautiful brown. Can never have enough brown lipsticks. That's just a really nice warm brown lipstick, as opposed to ones that have a little bit of purple in them or cooler undertones sometimes. I like that one has more of a yellow undertone to it. It's a little bit different from my collection. Sensual, which is super dark. Almost black again. Pretty similar to Coffee, More Coffee from Maybelline, but I just needed the whole collection. And I love the formula of these. It's a soft, almost powdery formula. Feels really good on the lips. They wear pretty well. They also look really nice on the cheeks as blush. And I just really, really like the packaging, everything about them. I really enjoyed, and yeah, I think I should probably continue collecting the whole range just because they look nice on the vanity. With this eye, I think we'll go with Tease. But the lip liner I found that has gone with all my favorite peachy nudes to get that kind of 90s darker lip liner look has been BFF3 from ColourPop. Gorgeous shade. This is a really, really nice brown lip liner. I really enjoy that, and honorable mention does go to all the ColourPop lip liners. I bought I think the nudes or whatever range from them of all these shades, and I found use for all of them. And they work well with my lipsticks that I have here, and I can kind of choose the undertone from within this to pair with the lipstick and what I think might look best, and maybe tweak the tone a little bit. But these are so creamy, yet they stay in place and they're easy to apply and they don't bleed everywhere or anything. Just a really good formula, and I think this shade and Tease were such a beautiful combo. I loved them, and you get that gorgeous just 90s lip. Ugh. And the way I've really enjoyed applying my lipstick this year, a lip liner was doing a very kind of blended, almost ombre with it. Sometimes I use a brush, sometimes I use my finger to fade it, but I start with a really deep lip liner. I really like brown, various shades of brown basically. And then when I get to the outer corner, I kind of come onto the lip itself. And just fill in the corners a little bit. I am somebody who does like that darker lip liner. Now if you don't like a darker lip liner, that's definitely not going to be for you, but for me, I've always been a dark lip liner kind of gal. Because I was a child in the 90s and that was a thing. It was very popular. My mom would buy me cheap Wet n Wild lip liners, and I would overdraw the shit out of my lips because I wanted to be Gigi Rodriguez from Too Long Fu so bad as a kid. But yeah, that's what I'll just kind of smooth it out on the lip and then go in with the lipstick. I just think it looks really glam. And throw a gloss over top. Beautiful. I don't have a favorite gloss this year. I'm not a gloss girl, really. So, but yeah, that is a lip combo I really loved, was just the deeper lip liner with the lipstick like that. If I was doing something a little bit more in the nude range, a lot of times though, you know me, my bold lips or my vampy lips, I was doing some dark lips year round, as per usual. Is that everything? Did I forget anything? I hope not, because I've been in here like 3 hours talking, doing the voiceover portions as I go, just because it's easier that way. I can remember what I'm doing. That is my 2022 favorites as far as makeup goes, and is my favorite thing is makeup. I save this as the last video of the week because it's the one I get most excited about filming, and it's the one that is most exciting for me to watch too from other creators. So let me know down below, are any of these products your favorites also? Have you tried any of these? Did you like them? How you feel about them? Let me know down below, and if you think there's some products I need to test out that will potentially be 2023 favorites, drop those in the comments as well. Just hoping 2023 is a great year, and I will see y'all in the next one. Stay safe, stay spooky. Bye now.